So I'm super excited. I got my hands on this gorgeous Simple Stories, simple vintage garden paper. And this is what I'm going to use for this little project. If you haven't seen it yet, I just thought I'd take a second and show you what this looks like. So this is the 6x8 pad, and I am going to be making an album, a gardening journal with this one. Like, it's just stunning in the garden. That is perfect. Or any Easter or spring, but I'm definitely going to make a little gardening journal with that. So that's a 6x8 pad. I also picked up the foam stickers. I love these on a layout. So I'm intending to do a lot with this paper. So I picked these up and I will use them in many places. I've got the rub-ons, which are also awesome. And I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I actually might use them to decorate a tin can or something, like sort of a decoupage look. And then I picked up a couple of the large sheets with the 3x4 cards to cut out on them. And then this large sheet that looks kind of like note paper. I thought this would make a good base for a scrapbook page. So those are the large sheets I bought. And then also the 12x12 Vintage Basics kit, which is just the solid. So one side is solid and one side is gingham. And that we're going to be using in this project. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then last but not least, this tag sheet. So as you can see, I didn't buy the whole pack because I want to do something with a 6x8 size. And I'll make a couple of layouts. So I really only needed a couple of sheets. And then this tag sheet caught my eye. It is just gorgeous. Even the tags on the back are beautiful. Usually they're just plain, and they're kind of patchwork and gorgeous. So this is what I'm using for this project to make this little mini tag album. So next I will walk you through what this little guy is going to look like, and then we'll get started working on it. So this is the little book we're going to make. This is the finished product. As per one of my recommendations, I am sharing the full thing first before we start the tutorial so you know what we're making. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to put the base together, and we are not going to decorate the whole thing together because it just takes too long and boring, and it's pretty straightforward, but I will show you a couple of little tips for some of the more unique pieces of decor in the book. So here is the front cover. This book is measuring 5 at the tallest point. It's 5 by 3.5. Okay, so that's not a bad size, 5 by 3.5. And it's got inside, we have 6 pages plus the front and back cover. Okay, front and back covers are made out of the chipboard, and then the inside is just the cardstock. So I'm just going to flip it open, and I'm going to go pretty quickly. There's like a longer walkthrough in the back that goes through a little bit more detail, I guess. But I just want to show you so you have a picture of what you're going to end up with as you're creating, and you can decide if you want to make this anyways. Okay, so lots of flips and flaps and pockets for you to put tiny little pictures, or just, you know, do whatever you like. Just put it on the shelf. I'm going to put this up on the mantle with my spring Easter decor. And maybe pictures will go in it, maybe they won't, I don't know. Sometimes I just like to have these little books just as a decor item. Okay, so that's essentially it. So let's get going on the tutorial. Okay, so we'll go over really quick before we start what you're going to need for this album once again. So you're going to need this 12x12 tag sheet, and don't cut them all apart just yet, because you may want to have some that kind of fold out like an accordion, so you may want to leave 3 kind of in a row together. So just leave that until you start decorating. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to be using the basics kit with the patterned gingham on one side and hardcover solid on the other. So you'll need to have that. If you don't have this, that's no problem. All you really need is some cardstock that matches the patterned paper here. Okay, and then you'll need a scrap piece of chipboard. So this is about 6x8. It's more than enough for what we're going to be making. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut our chipboard cover first. So what you're going to need for the chipboard cover are 2 pieces that measure 5 and 3 by 3.5. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 3.5 inches, and then 2 pieces that are 5. So there's 1 and there's 2. Okay, the other thing you're going to need is for the spine, and I've already cut this, is just one little piece here that measures 2 3/4 by 1 1/4. Okay, so go ahead and cut those. Okay, once you have your 2 pieces of chipboard cut, I want you to grab a ruler and a pencil or pen or anything, doesn't matter. And we need to make this in the shape of the tag. So what I want you to do is measure 1 inch from the edge inwards here. So I'm marking that spot. Okay, and same thing, measure 1 inch from the top down. Okay, and then connect those 2 dots that you just made. And this is where we are going to cut the chipboard. Do the same thing on the other side here. So 1 inch and 1 inch. And we can connect the dots. And we are going to cut that. Okay, so grab this, and you have 2 of these, so make sure you do this on both of them. Okay, and you can use your paper cutter because you can just line it up. You can, where you drew the line, you can kind of see exactly where it is, and hold it tight and just cut across. Alternately, you can just grab your scissors and do this just as easily as well. So let's do that as well with the scissors, just to show you. Okay, so there's what the cover looks like. And then go ahead and do this on the other piece as well. And you can use this one as a template if you like. Okay, and when we'll come back, we will cover up these pieces. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to cover up the chipboard. I've already done the ones from my album. I chose this dark pink gingham color. And this is what we're going to be doing right now. So I'm going to do this with just the white paper so you can see it a little more clearly. So first thing you're going to do is get your whatever color cardstock you want to use. And like I said, you can use plain, you can use colored, whatever have you, whatever you're doing. I'm covering this one in white because I can use it for another project and it'll be very versatile. So what you're going to do is cut 2 pieces from your cover that measure 6 by 4 1/4. Okay, so cut down to 6 and then 4 1/4. So you'll need 2 of these, 6 by 4 1/4. Sorry, 4 1/2. 6 by 4 1/2. Okay, so 1, 6 by 4 1/2, and 2. Okay, then what you're going to do with these is we're going to take our chipboard and center it over top like that. Okay, I find this is the easiest way to do this. You can use double-sided tape or glue. Of course, my glue is stuck. Just 1 second. Okay, I got my glue flowing again. I'm just using glue for the video because it's a little bit faster, but you're going to put glue around the edges, just some glue down the center. And take your chipboard and just center it over the piece that you cut so you have sort of equal edging around all the sides. You know, if it's not perfect, it's okay. You're going to fold this over. Okay, and then just for these corners, just cut off those corners there so that you don't have all this extra bulk. All right, then you're going to just take your bone folder and start to fold these over the chipboard all around. Okay, and I'm just going to do the one and you can do the other one off camera so we're not just staring at me doing this twice. Okay, but we're going to do this for both pieces. Okay, so now I've bent it around all the corners and burnished it. And for these bottom ones, we're going to cut off the corner like we always do so we don't have that bulk when we're folding it in. And then for this one, these ones, it's a little more tricky because they're on a funny angle. So what I do is I cut this one I cut in straight, and then I only sort of cut the corner off this one just outside of that score mark. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let's do it again on this side. So I'm going to cut straight in here, just a straight little cut. Okay, and then over here, I'm cutting to the right of this score mark. So you'll see the score line you made when you fold it over. I'm just cutting a little away from it because I don't ever want to cut all the way to the corner of the chipboard. So I see you have a little bit of white cardstock here. That's what you want. You don't want it all the way to the chipboard, okay? So that's what I'm doing so that I can reduce the bulk and still make sure I have good coverage. Okay, and you can do the same thing with the top one, except this one you're going to cut straight with this top edge, like that. And I just check, you know, I fold it down. You could actually just leave it, but I think that's just a little too much bulk. So I'm going to cut off this little bit here. Okay, so normally it's pretty straightforward, just cut off the corners, but because it's on an angle, it's a little bit different. Okay, so now I'm going to go in, here I would normally use my double-sided tape, but I'm just going to go in with my glue. I'm just going to glue down these edges. Okay. So fold all of those over. To hold them down because it's glue and not the tape. Just gonna hold that down. Okay. And when you're finished, it should look like this. Okay, so once you've done both of these, we're gonna go ahead and work on the spine. Don't cover this inside yet. All right, you don't want to cover this up yet because you'll see why in a second, okay? So get your little spine piece, and just a reminder, this is the piece that measures 2 3/4 by 1 1/4. And we're going to cover up the spine by cutting a piece of cardstock in whatever color we like, or it could be just white, in 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to use this. If I can. It's too small. 1 second. So cut a square 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay. And what we're going to do with this is take our little piece of cardstock, and you're going to center it in this middle of this piece. So we've got about a 1/2 inch from the top and a bottom, and we've got about 1 1/4 inches from each of the sides. Okay, so you can measure that out if you like, or you can be like me and just eyeball it. Okay, so I'm going to stick this down in the center, what looks more or less like the center. All right, now, this is important. So let's fold those sides over. Just fold them up like that, okay? Don't worry, these are not being attached here, okay? Because you might be thinking, oh my God, why are they so long? Don't worry, that's not what we're doing. So what we're gonna do here now, I just want you to fold it so that you have like some kind of score line as a guide, because we're gonna cut the corners off. Okay, so we're just gonna fold up all the sides here. Okay, and now what I want you to do is cut just at a slight angle, like that, all 4 corners. This is all going to be covered up. You're not going to see it once we fold it in. Okay, so take your 2 little flaps and glue or tape those closed. There we go. And now for the fun part, bring back your covered chipboard, okay? And we're going to attach the spine here. Much like if you followed one of my video tutorials for other mini album, like a flip page with a hard chipboard cover, this is the same technique. So I just flipped this over and I'm going to go in with my bone folder because I want to make a little crease here that's kind of like stepped up. So do that on both sides. It'll make this next step easier. Okay. And now this is going to be attached right here so that when we're done, you have a nice outside little cover. See that? And it's really neat looking. Okay, so here I'm going to get my, I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto the front and back cover. So I'm putting just glue on this one side of the flap, and I'm lining this up. So the bottom of this is lined up to the bottom of the front page. Okay, and I'm just pressing down here. I'm going to go in gently with my bone folder. I don't want to rip any paper. So you can see how this is going to work. Okay, and now you do the same thing with the other side. And that's why I was saying to you, don't cover this yet. You will cover it after we're finished. So get my glue down. Okay, I'm just making sure everything is lined up. Looks good. And there you go. That is the outside of the chipboard album. So cute. So cute. Okay, so now I want to cover all this messy stuff up. So first thing I'm going to cover here, little piece, and then over here. So I'm just going to use my white, my white chipboard, my white cardstock for this because I don't want to waste too much of my patterned paper, and I'm going to decorate this anyways. Okay, so let's go ahead and start to work on that, covering up all this stuff. Okay, so first I'm going to cut the little piece for this center. So that's going to measure 2 5/8 inches tall by 4 inches wide. Okay, so 2 5/8, and I do apologize for these crazy measurements, but it's important because I want it to go cover up almost everything here. So 2 5/8 by 4 is the first piece you're going to cut. Okay, and just set that to the side. And now let's cut the pieces that will cover up these sides. So you're going to need 2 of these, and they're going to measure 4 7/8 tall by 3 3/8 wide. Okay, so 4 7/8 by 3 3/8. There's one. And 2. Okay. All right, let's just set this aside, bring our album back. So let's cover up this center piece first. So that is just gonna go right here like that. So let me zoom in a little. Can I zoom in? There we go. Yes, okay. So I am just gonna use glue, but you can use double-sided tape for this as well, or both. I'm gonna use both for these because I think that's sort of what holds everything together. Okay, so I'm just going to center this here. I'm covering up the middle, and I want it to extend enough to the sides. Now, what I want to do is just before it all sticks down, which is why I like using the glue here, I'm going to just go in with my bone folder and make sure that it folds nicely and it's not creating any funny creases. And the same thing for the other side. Just going to fold it up. Okay, you just want to make sure that it's still folding up and down nicely. Nothing's pulling or buckling. Okay, and the way to do that is just to get right in there with the bone folder into the creases. Okay, There we go. All right, so that is that. Now we're gonna cover up these pieces, and you'll see we have the same dilemma. We've got to cut off the corners. So what I do with this is, instead of measuring and getting all crazy, because sometimes it's off, let me tell you, I'm just gonna go in and mark out where I need to trim this. And so I can tell from this side, and I can zoom in some more so you can see exactly what I'm up to. All right, so I'm gonna just put a little mark, a tick mark here, because I'm gonna cut from here to here, okay? And that'll give me about the same size of edge showing of the pattern's paper while covering up almost everything. Okay, so that is all how I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna get any more technical. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just doing this. Okay, now let me double check before I stick everything down. And I'm very happy with that. Okay, so let's zoom out so you can see this. Okay, now this I'm going to go in with my double-sided tape, because I find the tape is really, really, really strong. I've never had anything fall apart with this glue, and I use it everywhere, but when I want to reinforce, I use a little bit of both. So I'm going to do this all around the edges, and then I'm just going to put my glue in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to pull back the tape. There we go. Get some glue in the center and stick this to the other side. There we go. Okay, I already love how this is starting to look, guys. So adorable. One thing, if you want to use a ribbon closure, now is the time for you to attach it. So I'm actually thinking I don't want one. I'm fine without it. But if you wanted one, this would be a good time to put your ribbon down on both ends and then close them shut. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and I might do one anyways, because I can actually tuck it under if I put another piece of cardstock on here, which I probably will. So I'll show you how to do it later when you have changed your mind like I have. But you can also do it now where you glue it down under these pieces that we're sticking on. Okay, so go ahead then and do the same thing with the other side, and then we'll start working on the inside of this cute little album. All right, so what you end up with, where you should be at now, is this little guy that looks like this. Okay, on the outside, it's so nice and neat on the edges. I love this style of album construction. So let's build the pages for the inside, and these are really easy. We're gonna be cutting out 3 pages. So choose your cardstock that you want. I'm gonna choose 3 colors because each color will do 2 pages because it's a double spread, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So anyway, let's just start so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do the first one, which is the first page. It'll make for us the first page and the last page, okay? So let's cut that out. So get your colored cardstock or whatever you want to use. I'm going to go with this gingham one. I think it's really pretty. And you're going to cut this piece down to 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, so they're all going to be 4 3/4 inches tall because all pages will be the same size. So 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. And now we're going to score this. So either you can score it with your scoreboard, or I have a little scoring blade for my trimmer, so I'm just going to pop that up here and bring it down. And so then we're going to score this at 3 1/4. Okay, so you're going to keep your 7¼ inch edge along the edge of your scoreboard, and you'll go ahead and score at 3¼ and at 4. All right. Okay, now, I'm just making sure I've got a good score line there. Okay. Now I want to remove a portion of the center between my two score lines. Okay, so I'm going to get my little marker so you can see this. I'm just going to fold along those score lines, first of all. And I want to remove 2¼ inches from this. So I'm going to just measure on, I'm going to keep it in my, I'm putting it into my paper slicer here, my paper trimmer. And I'm going to cut off to 2¼ so I can see that here. I'm just going to look right on my ruler here, and I'm going to mark out where 2¼ is, which is right here. Okay. And now I know I'm going to cut along my first score line to 2¼ Okay, so go ahead and cut on your score line to 2¼ All right, and now we're going to slide it over and line up the second score line and cut 2¼ off of there. So this is what I'm trying to do. I am removing this little center bit from here. And now I'm going to just line it back up into my paper cutter, into my trimmer. I'm going to bring my blade up, and you can use scissors for this, but I'm just going to take out the middle. All right. So this is what you want to end up with, this piece where you've removed a 2¼ inch length from the top of this. And why is because this is going to sit right in your book like this. Okay? Cool. That's great. Now, what we need to do is trim these corner edges, much in the same way we did before. So we're going to be doing this exact same technique with 2 more sheets of paper, but the center is going to get smaller and smaller because they'll all sort of stack, and you'll see that in a second. Okay, so now I want to make sure that I got my nice little edges done that match with the tags. So this time I'm measuring 0.75 in from the top and the sides, and then I'll just trim that off. Okay, so 0.75. Perfect. And now just a tip here is I'm going to line up. So what I do when I'm using scissors is I kind of line up the blades and then just do one straight cut. You don't want to kind of do that. You'll end up cutting it crooked. And if you don't like that, just go and put it in the paper trimmer. Okay, so there we go. And we'll do the other side. There you go. So just so you can see the construction of this, I'm going to go ahead and attach it. So you can decide if you want the front page to be of gingham or a solid. So you can turn it this way. It really doesn't matter. Okay, because all of it will be shown. So I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to put double-sided tape down along the center piece here. Okay, so I'm putting 2 strips down, and I'll probably put a bead of glue down the center as well, just for fun. Okay. There we go. I'll just Add a bead of glue down the center. Okay, and now what you're going to do is take this and center it over top. So I'm just showing you now, I've got about same distance from the top and the bottom, okay? And I've got about 1/4 inch from either side, like that. Okay, so that becomes our first set of 2 pages inside the album. Okay, now we're going to do the next set. So I'm going to use this paper, because why not? And this one now is number 2. We're going to cut this at 4 3/4. So again, same height. Okay, so this is 4 3/4. And this time it's going to be 7 inches long. So you can see we're getting progressively shorter. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and cut, we're going to score this. Grab my scoring blade again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and score this one now at 3 1/4, which is where we scored the last one. So they're all starting at the same spot because the first page is the same size, right? It's just the spine that's changing. So 3 1/4 and then at 3 3/4. So now what have I got here is a 1/2 inch spine. So I just showed you the 3/4 inch spine, which is the outside. So I'm just going to go and burnish this down because we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut 2 1/4 inches out from the center. Okay. So I'm putting it this way because I can see the score lines. So I can put the score line on my cutting, right where the blade goes, right? And I'm going to cut up to 2 1/4. Again, looks like I need to change my blade. Okay, and then I'm going to slide it over, and I'm already at 2 1/4, so I'm going to go this way. Looks like I didn't get it quite in where I wanted it to be, so I'm just going to do this again. There we go. Okay, and then you can simply snip the center off or put it in your paper trimmer. So, okay, this time I'm just gonna cut it off because my paper is pretty much like a grid. Now I'm going to clean this up a little because I'm seeing that my trimmer is misbehaving. So I can clean that up. I'm probably going to chalk the edges of this, so I'm not going to just leave it for now. So same thing, go ahead and measure 0.75 in from each side and trim off those corners. So I just find it easier if I do the same sides all at once. And then we're going to do the last piece, and that will finish the mini album actually from start to finish. I don't think I did that one. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be using some chalk on the edges of this. So, all right, there we go. So that's this piece. So now I'm going to add that into my album, and I'm going to flip it so that I've got all the gingham on the inside. Does it matter which way? I don't know. I'm so indecisive. I think I will do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to I don't have enough space for too much double-sided tape. I think I'm going to have to, I can put 2 strips right next to each other. And no glue. There we go. Okay, and now this one, again, I don't know why I'm doing this, because I always say don't put the glue on top of the tape, but I'm doing it for the first time ever. And now I'm going to center this again. So I'm going to line up edge to edge, actually. Now this is a bit trickier because it's shorter, but once the page is standing up, it'll be the same. Okay, but now I'm looking, look, I've got the same distance from here and here to the green, up and down we're the same. And there is your next set of pages. Isn't this is so fabulous and so easy. It's so cute. Okay, now we just need to do the centerpiece. So, okay, so for the last page, I'm gonna pick up this light pink. And again, we're gonna cut this at 4 3/4. 4 3/4. But this is the shortest one, so this will be at 6 3/4. And then you're going to score this again at 3 1/4. So I've lost my scoring blade from here. I don't know where it went. I literally just used it, so I'm just going to use my bone folder. So I'm scoring this at 3 1/4, and then I'm going to score it at 3 1/2. Okay, so here I have a 1/4 inch spine, and I'm going to fold that down and burnish it so I can see my score lines really well. And be careful, this has writing on it. If you're using the Simple Stories, the sheets actually have a very faint writing. If you put it upside down, it's not the end of the world, but I'm just pointing out to you, there is some writing on it, so directional. So now I want to cut out this center piece from the top at 2 1/4. So I'm going to just line this up in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to bring my blade down to 2 1/4, which sometimes I like to do it this way better because I can then pull the blade towards me, and then slide this over to 3 1/2, your other score line, and take out that piece. And then again, you can either just cut it out or use the paper trimmer. Doesn't matter. There we go. So that's the next and the last page actually for the album. So that's going to go right here. And I think, yes, we do have to cut the corners off again. So go ahead and cut those corners off, and then put your double-sided tape down on this little 1/4 inch spine. Okay, so I went ahead and put the middle page in. So this is what we have now, is our little album. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, including front and back cover. This cute little spine on the back. So now we can start to decorate the album, and I've got a couple of little kind of tips and tricks that I want to show you. Okay guys, so we're back with the finished album, and I said I was going to start to do some decorating. So I did a little bit, and there are a couple things I want to share with you. We're not going to do all the decorating together because that would make a really long and boring video, but let me show you some of the things I've done so far, and then together we can do one other little thing I want to show you. So I haven't completed, but I've started adding pieces. So I've added a pocket into this front page, and you can just slide little tiny photos into there. I'm just thinking, I said tiny photos, but you're going to be able to get like a 3x4 photos into this little album. But anyways, there's a little pocket I installed here, so that's very easy to do. All I do is cut a rectangle the size of this whole page, and then just snip off the angles just to size. So pretty easy. There's no measurements for it. Just sort of lay it down and figure out where you want to cut so you have enough of a frame around it. So that's one thing. Then I'll show you, I started putting in little flaps. So I still need to embellish this, but this is easy. All you do is get a little piece of cardstock and stick it on here with a bit of a This is using double-sided tape, so I like to create little interactive pieces, and that's what we're going to do in a second. Here's another little piece that I put in, another flap. I put just a little jewel here because I think that looks like a doorknob, so it looks like we're opening the door, so that's really cute. Here's a flap going the other way, so we're flipping up, so you can have journaling here, a little photo down there. This one is one of the interactive ones, so this I attach with a brad, and so I can slide the flower out of the way, and then this opens up like so. So some room here for pictures, and then we keep it closed like that. Another little pocket over here, side pocket, and then on the back page, just a simple little pocket. Okay, so what I want to show you, let's get to it, is I'm going to put this over on this side, and I want this to kind of rotate out of the way, so similar to how this flower is rotating. So the way I'm going to do that without poking holes through the main card is I have a backing that I cut out, so that's going to be my mat on top of the base, and that's what we're going to attach this card to with a little brad. So it's super easy, but I just wanted to show it to you. I'm sure most of you guys are like, yeah, we know, we can figure that out ourselves, but in case you didn't know what I do, let me just take a minute in the video and show you. So I've poked a hole through both of the pieces, and I'll just put my brad through there. Okay, and now I'm going to glue this back card down to this base. So, whoops, goodness gracious. I wish I could turn my camera around and show you guys the blizzard. So it's been a really warm winter. I know I talk about the weather a lot. It's been about, I took a bit of a break between filming this video. So it's been about a week, and it was really, really unseasonably warm, and all the snow melted. And today we're having like a big snow dumping. So, yeah, we're going to have to go out and shovel later tonight. It's good exercise. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this down over to this side. And I can't tell, this paper, guys, it's so pretty. Okay, I'm just pressing it down. Make sure I got that nice and stuck down. Okay, and now we've just created an interactive little slide open. Isn't that cute? All right, so that's what I wanted to show you. So again, flips and flaps and pockets, you guys can add that all in on your own. I will do the final walkthrough a little more slowly so you can see everything, and I'm going to continue doing a couple more pages to decorate, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. Okay guys, so like I said, I went off and did a little more decorating, and here's the finished product. So I'm going to do a little walkthrough of all of the pages, and just going to take a sip of my coffee. And actually, somebody noticed my CBC mug the other day, and as you guys know, I am Canadian, and Mr. Dress Up is another classic show that used to be on that I grew up watching. So anyway, for my Canadian friends out there, I just thought I would share my mug today. But anyway, let's get into this little book. So I am in love with this. It's tiny, yes. Is it practical? I don't know, but it's very pretty. So that's what matters. Sometimes we just make pretty things, right? So here's a front cover. I just used one of the 4x3 cards. I think because I got this from the kit. I also bought the 6x8 kit. So I think I cut this out from one of the sheets there. So I did have a couple of extras, and I did use some pieces from the ephemera, but you don't need to do this. Like, you can definitely make this book with just what I showed you right at the beginning. So anyway, these are just popped up on some little foam dots, and let's get into the front. So first page, we've got lots of flips and flaps to help compensate for the tininess of the book. So there's still lots of places to put little pictures and journals. So I figured here's where I'll journal, maybe even on this side, and then I can put a little photo in here. Then I've got a photo mat tucked into the side pocket. So there's that. Okay. Now over here, I put in a little belly band, and I just put in one of the cards, these 3x4, which I folded in half, so it kind of made a little booklet. That just slides in there, and that makes a lovely little photo mat. And you flip it over, and I've got another flap that opens, and this opens up like a little booklet. Okay, lots of room here. Again, this is some bits of the ephemera. Here I just stuck down the tag flat down, and either will probably journal. This is kind of a tiny space, or I might just leave it blank, really. It's so pretty. Here we've got a little pocket. Now, like, don't get excited about these pockets. They're small. They literally will fit a tag. You can't stuff them too much, but you can get a really tiny photo here. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been printing small photos for stuff like this lately. So this would be like a 2x2 would fit here really well. And if you're not into that, again, you can just use this little book for journaling, some thoughts for spring, etc. So we got a little flap that opens up here. Okay, now here I put in this little knob. I think that this is what page that we went through together, isn't it? Yes. So anyway, I just decorated a bit, added some more cardstock to the inside. And then over here is the page that we already looked at. I like that little interactive bit. This opens up. And I've got now also, oops, I forget. Sometimes I forget what I do myself. So that's that. And another pocket page. And this is just stuck down here. Now this is a side pocket. So these side pockets, you can typically get a little bit more into them. So this one needs to be cut down a bit, but just to show you, like, I can definitely fit another mat or two back there. And then the last page is also just a little pocket. Okay. So that's it. That's the little album. Just a great way to use up that tag page and be really creative and just make something super cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're not already subscribed, it means a big deal to me. If you would subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications of when I post new content. My content is free. Sometimes people ask me if I have written instructions. I don't do that right now. I work full time, and this is really just a love of mine that I do for fun. So maybe one day when I'm not working anymore, I will start to do more specifically written down instructions. But for now, it's just the video tutorial. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back soon with some more beautiful spring stuff. I did pick up some new papers this week, so I'm excited to show you what's coming next, but I hope you enjoyed it. And again, please leave me comments below. I read everything and I love to get feedback, so hope to hear from you too. Have a great day, guys. Bye now.